Hey, how are you people doing today? Today we're going to be talking about reapportionment and redistricting. We're going to start with talking about the census. Every decade, the US government has what's called a census, and that basically counts the population, asking everyone who lives there about their race, their age, their job, where they live, and how many people are in their family. What they do with that is they ask everyone in each individual state and in the whole country. What we have is a number of total people in each state at that point. And once we have that, we have what's called the number of representatives, and those are based on the population. States with higher populations usually have more representatives, and states with lower populations have fewer representatives. The total number of U.S. representatives is 435. The number of representatives are distributed evenly among each state based on population. Let's look at an example now. You see here it's called reapportionment, and in the country of example land, there are 5 states with a total population of 250. There are 10 representatives, and we need to find out how many representatives each state gets. In Kevinland, there are 25 people. In Sonny-Bellington, we have 100 people. In Madalena, we have 25 people. In Henryville, we have 50 people. And in Marinha, we have 50 people as well. At this point, I want you to try and figure out how many representatives each state gets. We have a total of 250, and there are a total of 10 representatives. So we need to figure out, based on proportions, how many each state gets. Once you have it, come and see me, and then you can continue with this video. At this point, you should have found out how many each state has. If you have not done so, make sure that you find out how many representatives each state has before continuing. After each census, which happens every 10 years, the number of people in each state usually changes. When that happens, the representatives in each state change based on how many people they have. If a state increases in population, a state will usually have more representatives. If a state decreases in population, they'll usually have less representatives. When each time they have a different representative number, such as Maryland, the congressional districts are redrawn based on what the state decides. So, for example, Maryland has 8 different congressional districts, which means they have 8 representatives. We have the 1st district right here, the 2nd district, the 3rd district, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So we have 8 different congressional districts, and each year, or every 2 years, redistricting happens every 10 years after each census. The state decides what happens and how the lines are redrawn. As you see here with Maryland, the lines are very odd looking. They are not based really on geographic centrality or anything along those lines. So what happens is we have what's called gerrymandering. Basically, we connect these different areas all along a district in these very odd shapes to connect people who have different ideas or different political parties. For example, in Louisiana, Congressional District 4 is all one political party, which will then give more power to other political parties who are in control. North Carolina, the same thing happens. In North Carolina, they connect the city of Charlotte, Winston-Salem, High Point, Greensboro, and Durham, which are all very democratically leaning areas to try and consolidate or keep together the Democrats to give the Republicans more control. Again, this process is called gerrymandering, and it happens for both Democrats and Republicans to keep control of their district. What we're going to do now is we're going to play a redistricting game. where you will click on this link and you will find out a little bit more information after we do that. And so at this point, you should have clicked the link. What you're going to do is you're going to click Mission 1 Fundamentals, and you're going to click on Basic. After that, you're going to click Continue. You're going to click Basic for population equality. You can choose whichever party you want to represent. And you're going to continue again. What you need to do is you need to create population equality, which is 640,000 people to 650,000 people per district. So you're going to click Begin Mission 1. If you look here, you'll see that we have this population, which is underpopulated. You have 439,000. District 3, which is also underpopulated, where you also have Districts 1 and 2, which have more population. We need to make sure that all populations are equal. So, if you look closely, you see all the different blue and red dots. Those represent people. So what you need to do is you need to drag the lines over to try to increase the population of Districts 3 and 4 while decreasing the populations of 1 and 2. If you have more questions, make sure you come up and see me. Other than that, good luck, and when you are done, show me what you have. For example, now I have every population, every district with the target number. It's all between 640 and 650,000 people. In districts 4, 3, 2, and 1, they're all within that range. So what I can do now is click Submit for approval. And if you don't want to wait, you can click Next. And you get to see them all say yes, check marks. It's very exciting. And you can keep going. Once you're done, you can submit the survey and say if you understand how redistricting works. And then you can click Submit, select another mission, move on to Partisan Gerrymander. Each time you can go from Partisan Gerrymander, Bipartisan, Voting Rights Act, and Reform. After you've done all 5 missions, you can come and see me, or you can move on and return to them later. And now we should be working on the Electoral College. The Electoral College elects the president, so it's made up of several different electors or people who vote for the president. Each state's number of electoral votes is based off the number of representatives and the number of senators. Remember that representatives are based off population, and every senator is one of 2 different senators for each state. So states with a bigger population or a higher population will have more representatives, and because of that, they will also have more electoral votes. For example, California, which is the biggest state in terms of population, has the most representatives and the most electoral votes. California has 55 electoral votes, which is the most of any state. Texas with 38, Florida with 29, New York with 29, Illinois and Pennsylvania with 20, Ohio, Michigan, North Carolina, Georgia, and New Jersey are all some of the other big states that have a high population. A lot of states in the middle of the country, even though they are big in area, are actually very small in terms of population. Because they're small in population, they only get 3 or 4 electoral votes, like Montana and Idaho. At this point, I want you to click on 270towin.com or go to that website. Now that you're here, I want you to click 2016 Competitive and find where it says Blank Map. Once you're at Blank Map, click on the blank map, and you should get a map that looks like this. Feel free to change the colors of the state. Blue represents the Democrats and Hillary Clinton. Red represents Donald Trump and the Republicans. If you want to see what happens if all the states on the coast vote for Democrats, then you can click on them and see what happens. Just play around with it. Try a couple different